Good morning. The title of my presentation is Biographic Origin of Philippine Biodiversity, a must to attain sustainable development goals through transformative change. The Philippines is one of the mega biodiverse countries and also as one of the most vulnerable in the threat of climate change. The planet Earth is sick. Symptoms are population explosion, economic inequity, increased poverty, deforestation, biodiversity loss, and global warming. United Nations declared 2021 to 2030 as the decade on ecosystem restoration. It calls for transformative change as solution, a scientific, peaceful, and gradual way of transforming the business as usual, men alienated with nature, in favor of men reconciled with nature. By changing the mindsets and shifting the paradigms. This includes the recognition and contextualization of the importance of biogeography for the restoration of natural ecosystems at local to national scales. By thinking globally and acting locally, we can repair the damage and restore our ecosystems. Religion through creation tells planet Earth was lifeless, then became a biosphere. Bible says it happened 7 days. Science says millions of years man dominated the planet. Thus biosphere partnered with noosphere. Teilhard Chardin coined noosphere, which means thinking envelope. The Bible conveys this partnership. God said to Noah, "Build an ark, put your family and my creations, and stay alive with them." Contextually, the ark is the planet Earth, and biodiversity is God's creation. I dedicate this lecture to my two academic advisors, the late Dr. Catalino Blanche and the late Dr. Romeo Raros. I also dedicate this to Dr. Percy Sahise, my former supervisor, together with Dr. Raros in Upland Hydroecology program. And then in PESAM, now CESAM, School of Environmental Science and Management. They are the pioneering ecologists of the country. I owe them my ecological mindset and advocacy to help men reconcile with nature. These photos show the country's varying forest types as a function of elevation and biogeography. For example, pine forests are only in Cordillera, Zambales, and Palawan in high elevation, but not elsewhere. Interestingly, I saw the same pine forest in Vietnam, also at high elevation. Benguet pine, Pinus insularis, has now a new accepted name, Pinus cassia subspecies langbianensis. Biogeographically, we recognize species can be native or alien. All species in our country before Filipinos arrived are all native, like said pine trees. Native species unique to the country are endemic species. Species like Benguet pine are indigenous species. Species introduced by humans are alien or exotic species, the antithesis of indigenous species. If said alien or exotic species are malignant, it is called invasive alien species, or in short, IAS. Benign alien species do not spread to natural ecosystems and therefore are not IAS. Curiously, we humans are the first IAS. At plate 1, first photo is mangrove forest. Note stilt roots in tidal zone seawater. Next, beech forest with limestone forest at background. They are coastal forests. At plate 2, first photo is a semi-evergreen rainforest. Second is semi-evergreen dipterocarp forest with background grassland savanna. Third photo is evergreen dipterocarp forest. All are in lowlands up to 1,000 meters. In plate 3, first photo is an oak mountain forest. Second photo is pine forest with background oak mountain forest. And the third photo is a mossy forest taken from a mountain summit. An archipelago almost completely covered with forest was the scenario. I thus found shelter and food in said scenario as hunters and gatherers. Gaps are present in all virgin forests, including secondary forests. The fall of dead old trees create small gaps. Lightning strikes and passing tornadoes and typhoons cause bigger gaps. Our archipelago has major north-south trending fault lines that generate earthquakes, causing landslides and hence larger gaps. Where active volcanoes are present, large gaps are also created after major volcanic eruptions, either due to spewed lava or due to aftermath earthquakes that trigger landslides. Light-demanding pioneer plants fill said gaps. Next, shade-tolerant climax trees come in to return old growth forests. This is called natural ecological succession. My illustration above gives idea how a continuous landscape from sea level to highest mountain summit may appear. Mangroves are at intertidal zones. Beach forests develop above intertidal zones. Forests found from behind coastal forests up to 1,000 meters vary depending on climate and soil. Uniformly distributed rainfall on clay soils are occupied by dipterocarp evergreen rainforests. When rainfall is distinct, dry, and wet, semi-evergreen dipterocarp rainforests abound. Mojave forests grow on limestone soils, while ultramafic forests, characterized by their stunted trees, grow on basic soils. High mountains cause rain shadows. Leeward mountainsides have long dry seasons. Such drier climates support savannas or grasslands with drought-tolerant trees. High elevation areas with evenly distributed rains favor oak mountain forests. In areas with long summers, for example, Cordillera, Zambales, Mindoro, and Palawan provinces, pine forests are favored. Pines coexist with oak mountain forests growing along river or stream easements. DNR published graphs of total forest cover, primary forest cover, and timber production from year 1900 to year 1990. Timber production and forest cover from 1946 to 1975 inversely behaved. The former's increased, decreased forest. Colored symbols at x-axis of graph reflect my birth, forest guard, BS, MS, and PhD timelines. This gives you idea how loggers operate. When I worked as government forest guard from 1967 to 1971, I measured log volumes to compute forest charges paid by loggers to the government. Complex network of logging roads connected to public roads were constructed. Thus, rainforest became accessible to poor landless farmers. Population abruptly increased after 1950. This also increased the demand for food and wood materials for house construction. I was born in 1950 in Gataran, Cagayan. And during my boyhood, it is normal to see passing trucks loaded with round logs. In 1966, together with other high school graduates, we were trained by the Bureau of Forestry to help government functions done during logging operations. Logging concessionaires pay government forest charges based from our log volume measurements. Former inaccessible dipterocarp rainforests became accessible to poor landless slash and barn farmers or kaingineros. Kaingineros use same roads to market farm products. Forest guards did not have the heart to arrest kaingineros and send them to prison because if done, wife and children were helpless. Hence, logged over forests became farms, then in turn, grasslands. I witnessed how deforestation happened in Cagayan. The rich logging concessionaires became richer. In 1969, at Dingalan, Quezon, now province of Aurora, 2 forestry professors trained us in reforestation. We practiced what we learned by planting nara, mahogany, teak, yemane, and eucalyptus in Cagayan grasslands. We plant trees to fulfill reforestation with no distinction whether they are native or alien. Forest declines from 1900 to 1960 compared with the years 1960 to 1970 were obviously different. I was eyewitness to the rapid deforestation of Cagayan during the years 1960 to 1970. Compare small thin white Cagayan Valley 1960 with big stout white Cagayan Valley in 1970. What happened as 10-year deforestation in Cagayan was repeated nationwide except the province of Palawan. In 1971, I left my forest guard job and studied BS Forestry at the College of Forestry, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. My former Dingalan reforestation trainers were also my forestry professors. They taught that forests are lands dominated by trees, artificial or natural, as per forestry definition based on U.S. Forest Development Board, published in 1972. In their book, Plundering Paradise, The Struggle for the Environment in the Philippines, published in 1994, Robin Broad and John Kavanagh wrote that deforestation in the Philippines continued and logging roads became arteries of forest destruction. In just half a century, from 1946 to 2000, the Philippines significantly destroyed its God-given biodiversity. Biodiversity being a product of evolution and co-evolution through millions of years, but in just a half a century, is almost gone. Presidential Decree 705, released in 1975, allowed lands with average slope 17% or less classified as alienable and disposable lands. Kaingins satisfying said condition were given legal land titles. Many lands with slopes at least 17% are within 1,000 meters above sea level or lower. According to Merrill, 80% of the country's biodiversity are in 0 to 1,000 meters above sea level. For all elevations, Presidential Decree 705 also rules 20 meters easements of streams and rivers remain as public lands. Restoration of lost natural forests at elevation 0 to 1,000 meters is limited within said easements and also in deforested national parks within the National Integrated Protected Area System or NIPAS. Brothers and sisters, let us save what is left of our biodiversity before it's too late. We start this advocacy by reviewing how Philippine biodiversity evolved through time and their unique biogeographic distributions across our country. The topic, Origin of Philippine Biodiversity, starts with Figure 7, where you see new terms, Permian period and Pangaea. Permian means the time 320 to 245 million years ago. The second term refers to a single continent called Pangaea. Your familiarity with existing outlines of the planet's continents give reason why Pangaea is depicted in Figure 7. The idea here is that from one continent and one big ocean, planet Earth through time changed to its present form. During this early time, Malaysia, composed of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, was still submerged below Eurasian continental shelf. Pangaea split into two clusters. Northern cluster is Laurasia, while southern cluster is Gondwanaland. Plate tectonics in geology can explain this. It is clear here that the conifer family Pinaceae evolved in Laurasia, while its related conifer families Araucariaceae and Podocarpaceae evolved in Gondwanaland. During this time, Cretaceous period, 66 million years ago, the family Dipterocarpaceae has just started to evolve in Gondwanaland. The subfamily Pachyraemoideae is limited only in South America. The subfamily Monotoideae in Africa. And the subfamily Dipterocarpoideae in India. So we now know Philippine dipterocarps are descendants of ancestors originating from India. Quaternary period, 57.8 million years ago, shows continental drift finally done to show the present locations of all continents. Antarctica remained at the South Pole. South America and North America bumped and joined together, with Central America as a narrow isthmus serving as bridge. Eurasia collided with northward drifting Indian subcontinent, and this formed the Himalayan mountain range as impact. Africa and Eurasia joined but did not collide. Australia drifted northward and approached the southern rim of Eurasian continental shelf. The Eurasian continental shelf is underwater at early Quaternary. Emergence of Malaysia has not unfolded yet. Malaysian Biogeographic region with Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, and Borneo emerged from the seafloor, depicted in yellow color. Early Eocene, 15 million years ago. Yellow color symbolically gives the message that Borneo, Sumatra, and Malay Peninsula are connected together by land. The West Philippines, represented by island outlines of Mindoro, Palawan, is part of this continuum adjacent to Indochina. East Philippines is yet to be uplifted from the sea, located at southeast portion of the Pacific Ocean. The 6 maps represent time periods: 45 million years ago, early Eocene; 40 million years ago, middle Eocene; 35 million years ago, early Oligocene; 30 million years ago, middle Oligocene; 25 million years ago, late Oligocene; and 20 million years ago, early Miocene. West Philippines, symbolically as Mindoro Palawan image, moves southeast toward East Philippine Islands linked with Papua New Guinea during early Miocene. Pinus species Pinasii was aboard West Philippines, while Agathis species Araucariaceae and Podocarpus species Podocarpacii were aboard East Philippine Islands. Mangroves and beech forests were in place at the southern strings of islands that once joined with Papua New Guinea. West and East Philippines converged. Resulting convergence joined said northern and southern conifers in one archipelago. This convergence also provided Indo-Chinese flora and fauna reached Luzon Islands, and after adaptation to local ecological conditions, some descendant taxa continued to migrate southwards up to Papua New Guinea. The formation of Celebes Sea about 5 million years ago, end of Miocene, isolated Philippines from Papua New Guinea and Celebes. Geographic isolation of the Philippine archipelago from the rest of the world for almost 4 million years was ample time for the evolution of the country's numerous endemic flora and fauna. The descendants of Anisoptera turifera that arrived in Papua New Guinea also evolved as new subspecies, Polyandra, conspecific relative of the Philippine endemic Anisoptera turifera subspecies turifera. During the early Pleistocene, 1 million years ago, Philippines joined with Borneo via exposed Sulu and Palawan land bridges. Migration of Negroid humans, Homo sapiens, into the Philippines happened during the late Pleistocene, about 60,000 to 40,000 years before present. This land bridge was cut due to sea level rise, but restored again when global ice piles up at Arctic regions. Two-way exchanges of flora and fauna between Borneo and the Philippines happened on and off. Last glacial maximum was 18,000 years ago, and warm interglaciation followed to present time. Philippine Mega Biodiversity. Plant species number 13,500, wherein 80% are in lowlands from coastal areas to 1,000 meters above sea level. About 76% believed endemic, according to Merrill, 1926. Revision by Flora Malaysiana reduced this to 12,000, of which 8,000 are designated as flowering plants and only 30% endemic. Land vertebrates has been estimated 1,139 species, of which 49% endemic. Invertebrates number is galactic. Insects alone number 20,000 records. Out of the 8,000 native flowering plant species, 3,754 are tree species, based on my soon-to-be released book, Atlas of Native Trees of the Philippines. Native trees have their respective distributions in our 7,641 islands country. Based from this, 5 biogeographic regions were recognized. Recent publications revised this to 11 biogeographic regions. Prehistoric humans arrived as new occupants of the above pristine Philippine setting. From hominin ancestors, anthropologists tell the story that the genus Homo evolved in Africa, finally became Homo sapiens. Then out of Africa, Homo sapiens or humans spread worldwide. Negroid races, Aitas and Dumagats, walked into the Philippines about 40,000 years before present. Later, and survived as hunters and gatherers, Austronesian or Malayo-Polynesian ancestors of Filipinos, Indonesians and Malaysians arrived aboard sailing boats with outriggers. They introduced slash and burn agriculture at the expense of natural forests, including the building of houses under one settlement. The 2,000-year-old Muyong Payo shows prehistoric Filipinos live in harmony with nature. They get from the forest what the family or community needs. Pre-colonial Filipinos worship God, Bathala among Tagalogs, and Apo Kabunyan among Ilocanos. Awe and respect to nature is tied with belief on spirits in forests. Filipinos call them Anito, Hantu among Indonesians and Malaysians. Hence, Tagalog say, tabi po, and Ilocanos, bari-bari, before they enter or pass forest. Chitko tree huggers against loggers belong to this same Oriental value system. We recognize indigenous knowledge and recognize that nature-based solution is also climate solution, and climate solution is also nature-based solution. Forest is only natural. Hence, the only way to restore the forest is by planting biogeographically right native trees. Thank you.